Please can you remind me, if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? For purple angel, purple angel, purple angel, you're next to me.
Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. This is one of our video chats, and I'm really excited today because we have our friends from Italy with us with a program called Sente-Mente. And so I'm going to introduce all three parties. Harry Urban is with us, and Harry you will probably recognize because he's been on the radio show. He is one of our founding members of Dementia Chats, videos that we do. And he is just such an avid advocate and is internationally known for his work. He has a group on Facebook called Forget-Me-Nots, and he's just doing exceptional work. And you'll hear from Harry a little bit later. Harry is also, in case you don't know, Harry has been living with dementia for about 13 years now. Next, I want to introduce Deborah Angelis, and she is over in Italy, along with Lydia, Dali. Both facilitate the Sente-Mente Program, which is a revolutionary international project that shows new ways of looking at dementia and living with it. Deborah is a social worker and the director of an Italian care home over there. And Lydia is a teacher, and she specializes in laughter and happiness. And boy, nothing better than that. So welcome all of you, and thank you for being part of the program today. I'm very excited for you to be with us. I want to start out, and I'm going to point this first question to Deborah, if you don't mind. But if you can explain to us, what is Sente-Mente and how is it different from all the other models that are out there?
Okay, Sente-Mente is a wonderful, revolutionary Italian project. The creator of this project is Letizia Spanoli. Letizia Spanoli is a social worker, and 30 years ago, she began her work in care houses and grew her experiences working with people that is living with dementia. And 4 years ago, she created the model. The important thing in the model is that is about the idea that people who are living with dementia have their feelings lives. So the idea is that life does not end with diagnosis, but they still feel emotions, their own emotions, and the emotion of other people. So the model is based on the importance of the relationships and on 7 pillars that create the relation with the people who is living with dementia.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you. Lydia, do you have anything that you want to add to that? I love that it's emotional based and it's relationship based, because I'm such a believer in that. And I think the word we use over here, and I don't know if you guys use it a lot over there, but everyone's so person-centered, but I think we forget about that core of the relationship. And to me, that's got to be number one in order to communicate well and feel comfortable. So Lydia, I'm sure you have some comments to add.
Yes, I just wanted to say that this is exactly the point you were just talking about, the relationship, which is so important in the way you are behaving with the people living with dementia and with the families. And the Sente-Mente approach is just built around the importance of the relationship and how we can just fill it with emotions, with care, and with human relation, let's say. So this is a very important aspect. Then all the 7 pillars Deborah was talking about are all scientifically based pillars. So it's we could mix, you know, Sente-Mente approach is revolutionary because there is a mix of different scientific pillars on which we are going to build the model, and that can really help the people living with dementia, but also the family and the caregivers, to create a new relationship and to fill it with love and humanity and a life with after the diagnosis, beyond the diagnosis. So it's quite important.
So thank you. Harry, I'm going to pull you in because I want to know what made you decide to get involved with the program, because you are a huge influencer here in the United States and around the world.
I'm sure Deborah and Lydia is going to explain the 7 pillars of the Sente-Mente model. And when you hear them, you're going to hear what I've been trying to get across for the last 14 years. Here in the States, we treat dementia with medication and things like that. In Italy, they take a somewhat different approach to it. And their approach is more on the human side of it, the emotional side of it. That's the symptoms they treat. When I first met these wonderful ladies and I got to know them and I got to know the Sente-Mente model, I just fell in love with it because I believe in it so much and I practice it every day. And I think if you follow the Sente-Mente model pillars, it will lead you to a more happy, inner peace life.
Well, and who the heck doesn't want that? So I think we better get to the pillars then. So, Deborah, I'm going to have you kick off if you want to start and tell us a little bit about the 7 pillars.
The first one is the most important because is life does not end with diagnosis. The idea is to give back to the families and to the people the hope. The idea that you can carry on your life, something is changing, but you can still have your desire, your dreams, and you can do all you want, but in a different way. The second pillar is based on the positive psychologist. And we inspired from American neuropsychologists, researchers, and especially from Dr. Seligman, that works in Pennsylvania University, at Penn. And the idea is that events arrive in life, but we can do the difference when we decided how to react to events. So it's very important, a positive reaction to events and not to fall down. Another important pillar is about contact, because the relationship is based on contact. That is a contact based on touch, so on your hands, but also on eyes that meet. And the Italian word for contact is also very similar to kindness. So the idea is to begin a relationship with kindness. Another important pillar is based on Hartmut University researchers. Hartmut studied the electromagnetic field that our heart creates. And so when we approach to a person And in particular, if is a person who is living with dementia, is very important how we approach, which are the feelings that are inside our heart. We can also use some exercises for changing our state of cardiac coherences to let this relation be the best. The favorite Harry pillar is laughter. Laughter is very important because gives lightness. I think that Lydia could explain better than me laughter pillar, because she's a laughter ambassador nominated from the creator of the laughter therapy.
I can just say a few words about it, but Deborah was saying that we use the unconditional therapeutic laughter as a way to bring light into the life of the people living with dementia, but also the families, and also to bring lightness to this life. And it's building up a kind of resilience, because you choose just to laugh. It's not that you're going to forget about the conditions you're going through and the situation you're going through, but it just gives you some strengths just to go ahead in a lighter way, you know. And it's always making you feel good, and also keep a good connection with people if you just use the smile and the laugh. And conditional laughter is so important, because there is still a reason we have to laugh in our life. We just have to choose it. So this is more or less about the unconditional therapy. And it's very, very effective for also the caregivers, also to prevent from the burnout. But what is so great in the model is that you can mix all these tools, and it's getting you a great result, you know. It's not each single tool, but mixing together, you can reach to a very good emotional state, and this is what the relationship is based on.
And I love that unconditional laughter, you know, because it's just, it's so fulfilling and it's so fun, and it gets you in that childlike state of it's okay just to let loose, you know, and to be. And I think as we age, we worry about what's somebody going to think and how's it going to sound, and we're so preoccupied with being judged, and we're letting that go and being able to be free. I can see why Harry was so excited when he hooked up with you guys with this, because your pillars, they just make so much sense that life doesn't end. You know, once somebody gets diagnosis, it continues on. Using positive psychology is something we should be doing throughout our whole life, not just with dealing with people with dementia. You know, that is just an added communication, getting us back into reading those nonverbals that we overlook because we're too busy. And then that unconditional laughter, along with kind of the body and the mind working together, you know, as one. And I loved, Deborah, when you were talking about contact with kindness. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the World Kindness Initiative out there, but I definitely want to send you some information on that. I am now a founding member of that. And they're in Australia and China, and they're all over the place. They are just coming to the U.S. now, but I just think it's a perfect model to get people to slow down and just think about their reactions and how they, like you said, how they can control them, how they do have choice makes a big, big difference there. And then one of the pillars, though I don't know if we talked about, and Lydia, if you could maybe expound on that, it was special behaviors.
Yes, we have two other pillars. One is about emotions, and it's called like emotions are not a disease. That means that you should learn just to welcome your emotions, and then you can be aware of the emotion of the other people. And people living with dementia are so emotionally present that is so important also for us to work on our positive emotion, to get into contact with them, and also to be able to welcome different emotions they can go through. And you can also go through these emotions, which are not always, these are disturbing emotions, maybe also because you're going through difficult moments, but you just have to switch them, the emotion. And this is a very important pillar, because in the medical, in a medicalized relationship, you don't want to, you keep the distance with the emotion, with your emotions and the emotion of the person you're taking care of. And this is the wrong way, just the wrong way to live the relationship, because then this is the relationship that can help to go ahead. So it's quite important that you should have a kind of reconciliation with your emotions and the emotion of the people also living with dementia. And the special behaviors, it's about the fact that you should just change your point of view and don't keep a cognitive point of view exclusively. And so you should just put the shoes of the people who are living with dementia and see the way they can feel the situation. And if they are not able to express themselves with a cognitive manner as they used to be before, then you should learn a different way. You can see that these are special behaviors, are a language, because people are trying to express themselves, their needs, and what they feel in a different manner. So we have to learn about these special behaviors, but always keeping in mind that they're trying to tell us something, and we should find the right way to get the message.
I love the way you define special behaviors, because they truly are a signal. They truly are another language. And, you know, one of the things that I always teach when I go out is I talk about how I think we all use the same equation to react, and that is our current attitude plus our past history create our perceptions, and our perceptions create our triggers. And so it's our job to step into their, like you said, into their shoes, Lydia, and walk with them and figure out what's going on, because it is a form of communication. I also loved when you were talking about the ability to express and feel all emotions. I think over here in the U.S. we are doing a horrible job, and our mental illness on a whole is going through the roof, because everyone's trying to be this perfect entity that doesn't even exist. Yeah. And people aren't allowed to express themselves, and I think they become pressure cookers then and just pop, and it could be just a real minor thing. And I think it's very critical for us to all understand that emotions are normal, and you know, they're good, they're bad, and they're ugly, but we can move through them respectfully and not hurt ourselves or anyone else if we as a community learn to allow that and nurture that process. And so I love your pillars. I think it's very, very exciting. I'm going to throw it up to Harry here for a second. Harry, I know that you guys are doing a Sente-Mente American Day, and you've had a lot of influence in terms of being part of that. Do you want to share a little bit when that is coming up and what that's about?
Sure. I am. Like I said before, I am so impressed with the Sente-Mente model. I want everybody here in the States to learn about it, but I may not be the right person to teach it. That's why I asked my wonderful friends here to come and talk about it. They have a way of connecting with people, Lori, that you will not believe. When they were here last time at Laughter Yoga, everyone fell in love with them. They connected with them. And that is so unusual. We have one gentleman there that he never laughs. And they contributed to him being in his later stages of his dementia. And I knew that wasn't true. And I'm sure Lydia knew it wasn't true, because she had him laughing. And afterwards at a memory cafe, he would bring that up constantly, that, oh my goodness, I never laughed so hard. I had such a wonderful time. And that's the influence they have. That's why it's so important that we learn these 7 pillars. Now, I always talk about life beyond your diagnosis. That's one of them. I'm a big fan on contact. When you communicate with somebody, it's not only verbally, it's physically. Maybe you're just holding their hands and things like that. That's part of the model. You know, so many things like that influence me. One of the things that Lydia taught me is to carry an extra smile in my back pocket in case I lose it during the day. Then I always have one to pull on. Simple things like that make such a big impression on you. That's why Sente-Mente today, when we talk, it's not from a medical standpoint. It's from an emotional standpoint. This is how we live. And usually the seminars I go to, nobody is able to reach that emotional level, explains what it's like living with dementia. But Sente-Mente can. For some reason, they have that magic to connect with people.
I think you really stated it beautifully. And I love the carry an extra smile in your back pocket or your purse in case you need it during the day. What a great philosophy. I'm gonna have to tuck one away. I love what you also said about the emotional connection and the man who, kept talking about his experience and he hadn't laughed that hard. Because, as the saying goes, it's not what you say, it's how you make people feel. And it sounds like that truly is the core of Sente-Mente, is getting in touch with that true heart sense of connecting with somebody, making them feel comfortable and safe and happy. And what more do any of us need, than that, Harry?
One point I really, really think is important is my friends who speak Italian. We did not let the language barrier stop us from connecting. I think it's important that we know that, because so many people say, like, the loved one is in a care facility, they assume they can't talk, they can't think, they can't do anything. They just assume things that are wrong. I think we proved the point that now the first time they came to visit me, I believe it was just Deborah and Letitia, and Letitia spoke broken English, very little English. So it was those two that we communicated perfectly. Hazel had no problem communicating with, and that's the little things people have to learn. And these are the perfect people to watch, observe, and learn from.
Well, and I think when there's a communication barrier, typically we slow down and we pay more attention to those nonverbals that we just skip over, and we're more present. We're just more present, and I think everybody around the world needs that as a whole. Deborah, I'm going to pull you into the conversation. I would like to know if you can speak a little bit more on coming to America. When is that happening, and how do people get involved?
This is our third times in the States, and it began, I think, 4 years ago. And Letitia was reading about Richard Taylor, Kids Warfare, and people who are living with dementia, and that are writing how they feel. And then we read about this American man, Harry Urban, that was writing on Facebook some posts when he shows to whole world how he was feeling. And Letizia asked me, please, Deborah, translate for me some of these posts. And after 2 probably or 3 years that I was reading about him and translating about him, Letizia decided to write a book. And this book is called Life Does Not End with Diagnosis. And she put inside her book many of Harry's words. And then it was a Sunday morning. She wrote me a message, and she wrote, I wrote a book, but I want to be sure that reurban is real. Would you like to come with me in the States? And me and Letizia went last year for the first time in the States. After this first wonderful meeting, we decided to come back for the second time, and Ilaria Filzi, the co-founder of Sente-Mente Project, and Lydia and Giusy, a neuropsychologist that works with the project, came in the States, and we created some courses and a congress. And now is the time for the third times, because the idea is we would like that all people meet the pillars, meet the new way of looking and thinking and feeling the dementia, to create a new awareness of dementia. So our new date.
What's the date for your conference and your yoga laughter?
September the 4th, we organized a unconditional therapeutic laughter course in the Lancaster General Hospital. The idea is to involve all care workers, nurses, medicians, social workers, and also families and people who is living with dementia. And for the 5th, September the 5th, we organized the second Sente-Mente Day, where we will speak about all the project. Both events are free, open to all people, but we would like to register people with an email, because the place is not unlimited. At the end, Harry also asked us to participate at his memory cafe, and we will be happy to be also there. So 3 dates for us in the States.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Lydia, do you want to add anything in terms of, are you going to be the one heading up the unconditional laughter?
I think Letitia is a great master, so I will just follow her. But anyway, I wanted to say that it is very important, the unconditional laughter course, but also the Sente-Mente Day, because we want to reach people who are also the caretakers, the caregivers, because we definitely want Sente-Mentes to go ahead in the States, also when we are going back to Italy. So this is necessary for us, that we should begin to find some partners who are interested in the model, and we can train them, and so they can do the best also for the people staying in the States, you know. And this model is revolutionary, so we are sure that as soon as we get the right person, they just can catch the opportunity and then help so many other people to meet the 7 pillars and to better the life and the life of the people living with dementia. So this is really our goal, what we have chosen to come back, as Harry was asking us, because we want to find some Sente-Mente American people who believe in the project and are ready to fight for it. And because it's a revolutionary project, so, it's not so easy at the beginning to find the right people who are going to listen to you and open their arms, but it can change the life of so many people. It's really a life-changing experience project. So we believe in that, and we will come back to find the right people to follow us.
Wonderful. I need to connect you with Cindy Lazinski, who's in Colorado. And I just went out to Colorado in June and did a tour out there and did like 14 different presentations. But she has a grassroots dementia-friendly group that's amazing, and I think they would be really, really interested in this. And she is just absolutely fantastic, and they are very well connected to one of the hospitals out there as well, who also sponsored an event when I was out. And so I will make sure that she gets your contact information and this video, because I think that would be just a really fabulous match.
I think that would be great, because also Letitia and Deborah and all the team, they are doing a great job in the care homes, and because this is the place also when you can really help to change the way you're seeing dementia and helping the people living with dementia and the family. And there is so much need to improve all the procedures, the practices, and the life of the people living with dementia and working, also taking care of them in these nursing homes. So it would be great that we can find, like in Italy, some great directors, great coordinators, great nurses that who wants to change the world also, the working life, the world of the people they are helping. And so we can bring the tools, we can bring an easy way to do that and to become a better person. So I think we definitely are going to meet these people, because the energy is attracting the right energy. Like we met Ari, we met you, we're still going to meet the right people.
Yeah, but I think our clinics and our hospitals need to understand these concepts as well. With this event coming up in September, is that train the trainer, or is that really more an overview?
The Sente-Mente Day will be an overview, which is very important for the people to get to understand what we're meaning about this, the 7 pillars. But the laughter and conditional course is just an open door to start to train the people, because the unconditional laughter is a very easy pillar. When you're starting, you just feel how it is powerful, and it can change your humor. And so this is the first thing we should start to train. But then we could continue with all the other pillars like we're doing in Italy. And in Italy now, going through the organizations, we are changing the life of so many people. So this is what it has been created for. Letitia just want to make the revolution. She has a big dream, and I think she's right, because it's just something very true, and the approach, and it just deserves to find the person who needs it.
Okay, Harry, did you have a comment?
They offer I think it's a 3-day training course, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a course that certifies you in the proper techniques and everything. And what our goal is to have get involved with various hospitals and care facilities so they can learn these techniques. That's why I think it is so important when they come to the United States, if we can set up a training course for this. We were going to try to do it this time when they came, but the logistics of it just didn't work out. That takes time to set that up. And but I think it's very important now. At the one we're having this time, we have several laughter yoga instructors coming. Their technique is different than the Italian technique, and I want these people to come just to get the interest in it.
Deborah, for these 2 days, do you know what the length of time is for the laughter yoga and then for the conference on the pillars?
We began both days at 9:30 a.m. at the General Hospital in Lancaster.
Yes, it's gonna be held at the Lancaster General Health Campus in Lancaster. Huge facility.
Okay, so we probably don't know this particular room, but that's something that if they email you and register, and we will put on the site and the American Day, they can click on that to get a little bit more information, because I saw that you had a printout, I think it was for the 5th, that was like 9:30 to 12:30 roughly for the day, and I didn't know if the laughter yoga was the same length of time or not with that, and I'm seeing all the shaking heads. So, and again, that's September 4th and 5th for Sente-Mente American Day, and you can get more information by going to, you can just Google Sente-Mente American Day, but we'll put the link in here for you as well with the video. Harry?
Now it's very important, since space is limited, that we try to encourage people to register.
Lydia, any last minute comments from you?
Well, we're just waiting for all the people to come and attend this seminar, this free seminar, and it's really a big opportunity they have for the training, which will be for free this time, the Unconditional Laughter training, and you can have also a certificate for attendance of the training, so you can also use it for the work for the caregivers.
Wonderful, thank you. Deborah, anything you'd like to say?
I can't wait. Thank you very much for your kindness and this possibility.
Harry, how about you? Any last words?
I am just so happy. I look through the eyes of somebody living with dementia. That's my world. When a group can touch so many of us, this special. I am so proud and happy to be involved with Sente-Mente that I can't say enough about them, and I thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what we know.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to getting this pushed out, and if you're watching this, please pass it on to others, because if you can't make it this time, maybe it'll be another time, or maybe they'll come to your town. So know that there's just so much hope out there, and there are so many great tools, and try not to miss out on a wonderful opportunity to be in Pennsylvania, in Lancaster, at the General Hospital, September 4th and 5th for the Sente-Mente methods. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.